Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for joining for today's call. And I'm not sure if you have any specific questions to start with. It would be great if we can cover those questions at the beginning, and then it also will help me understand in terms of the direction that I should go with the solution. So if you do have any questions, that's the time to raise the hands.
I think a quick introduction maybe too, so if they aren't familiar with what CleverBooks actually has to offer, and then we can kind of swing into questions right after that.
Okay, fantastic. So as part of CleverBooks, we're the Irish-based company, and one of co-founders. Hi, Jeff. And we've been on the market since early 2016. The main focus for us has always been in the education landscape, specifically in K-12. And our main focus also in providing augmented reality solutions for teachers to facilitate interactive 3D learning lessons. So since early stage, we started with just the mobile apps to bring that interaction for students, where the phone was pointed out at the marker, and then the marker will suddenly come to life, bring geography or geometry to life. And then gradually it evolved into a more comprehensive digital solution, which is a SaaS platform for schools to onboard. It's a subscription-based platform, and where the teacher becomes a complete facilitator on everything that is happening and can facilitate interactive either 3D learning lessons based on the devices that they choose. And I'll show you just in a bit how that looks like, or facilitate the real augmented reality experience by using mobile devices. So the real augmentation of these subjects coming to life come if the students are using the mobile devices, but because there are lots of schools that are not using mobile devices, but they have touch boards, or let's say personal computers, still the old version, or laptops or Chromebooks, we also had to, let's say, provide an opportunity for them to facilitate 3D learning experiences. So everything that you would see as a part of the solution, it's been based on over 900 interviews that I've personally conducted with people, with teachers and different stages, IT coordinators, principals, teachers who are actively in the classroom or helping the teachers to integrate innovative solutions. So, and I know that you're more in a kind of high at business sector. So today is probably going to be just a very brief introduction in terms of how AR is used in the lower schools from kindergarten to grade 6, because this is our main focus at the moment. We do have the solution integrated also in secondary and high schools. However, at the moment, the content of the solution is probably tailored to its best for primary or elementary school settings. Okay. Anything else? Any other specific questions before we start?
Are you guys seeing, this is more for the sales team, are you guys seeing any interest from clients around like AR? Have you heard any kind of noise from them?
Certainly, you know, one of the interesting places where that's getting a lot of chatter in the industry is in the hands-on kind of blue collar type training, where they're wanting to take, you know, for instance, I was talking to a client and they do HVAC training, heating and cooling training, and there's a lot of chatter in that world about being able to do that virtually now, using AR and things like that, where they can actually kind of see into the machines and see that type of thing. So it's definitely part of the discussion around corporate as well. But we have handful, I mean, it's not that we don't do any K-12, and actually since COVID has definitely added a lot of K-12 into our pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Once they figured out Google Classroom and Teams are not actually LMSs, they kind of decided to start looking.
That's a good one. Fantastic. So basically, as part of K-12, you raised quite an important question that in terms of the remote learning, in terms of the digitalization, we also have seen a tremendous interest from schools just to bring that interactivity and the visualization. But from a corporate perspective, what I see as part of the trends is definitely corporates are moving into that environment in terms of the trainings, in terms of getting a different way to provide, let's say, the student, well, I don't know, students, trainees, interns, etc., or even regular specialists, the opportunity to visually very quickly receive, specifically in engineering and the medical aspect, etc. So, but again, probably Drew and I had a talk last time. We were saying to have the call for you just to see also, because we're doing the customized projects, and so everything that you will see now as part of the K-12 is a ready-to-use solution. So if you do have any customers who potentially would be interested, that would be, for you just to keep in the profile. However, if there are any, let's say, potential customers who are interested in customized projects, we also do that. And this is something that we can talk beyond the platform that we currently have. So let me just share my screen. Do you see that? Fantastic. So a very simple approach here is just a couple of words in terms of how things evolved. Starting augmented reality back a few years, where it was first nice to have approach. Now many schools and businesses see it as a must-have, as the visualization opportunity for everything that is happening, and more efficient, let's say, learning environments or interaction environments. And specifically for K-12, we offer a comprehensive solution, which is a multilingual solution, as you can see. The main focus here is we work quite a lot with international and private schools where students come from different parts of the world. And part of the personalization and the efficiency and inclusivity of learning depends also on providing content, which is part of the curriculum, in students' native language. So they have a better retention rate and a better, eventually achieve better scores. So the solution has a 14-day trial. We also provide some of the schools additional trial period if needed, but that's all once they actually have the opportunity to see how that works. How we present it is that probably the biggest challenges that we're trying to overcome is the students' engagement and motivation in the class. I mentioned to you multiple interviews that we had with teachers. They provided all problem statements in terms of how augmented reality, specifically augmented classroom, helps them to solve the challenges. And as we know that teachers don't have much time to prepare the lessons, so taking all that in consideration, we actually provided them the opportunity where they have a library of activity plans with ready-to-use lessons, and also ideas, trainings, and all the content that could be integrated with the existing LMS system. And also that where students don't have to create the account. So it's extremely easy to use, only teacher has to navigate through the account, and students are joining via link or a code, which is a completely data privacy, we don't collect any student data. So in terms of data privacy, it's probably one of the biggest advantages that teachers see. And as you can see, it's more a comprehensive solution that has a multilingual solution, multiple devices to use, also where teachers can see all the statistics of all the activities that are happening. And it has, from pedagogical perspective, approach towards students being able to interact with pre-designed content, which is a wow effect for younger students. They can learn about animals, bringing the zoo to the classroom. Or they can create, which comes to all the students, where teachers are more interested in helping the students develop the necessary skills that they have, as well as collaboration is a big part now of the current education system. And again, the inclusivity, because students learn at different levels, and specifically with augmented reality, because it's such an easy tool for teachers to, let's say, start using, take in consideration that many of them are not tech savvy and they're scared in using some of the complex digital solutions like VR as an example, because of the hardware. Augmented reality is a completely different scale because it's quite easy to bring on board and it's very easy to use and understand. So I've mentioned to all the main aspects in terms of the increasing test scores, visualizing and increasing the retention rates. As you can see that the device is extremely important for the teachers to use. The variety, so that's something that's I'll primarily focus is make sure that whatever device you have, you're able to bring this interactivity in an augmented or 3D learning environment. And once the teachers create the account, they have the opportunity to access all the multiple applications that are part of this solution. And the reason why they're separate is because every app has a specific focus for a specific subject or multiple subjects, but the concept is really the same: more efficiently present specific material. So I'm going to show you just a couple of examples because there's a variety of things how you can use that. Obviously, the mobile devices is more interactive, but what I would show you today is really well presented in terms of the content-wise, what it is, and also together with ready-to-use activity plans and the training, usually the teachers quite quickly see the opportunities. And the concept here is really, really simple. Basically, there are lots of augmented reality solutions whereby the teacher students will just point at the camera and the subject will come to life, which is ready to use content, but there's not much interactivity that they can do with it. Our goal is bring collaboration where in teams, students can co-create a specific environment, or they can collaborate in performing different activities and tasks, for which the teacher is assigning a class and the students are joining either via a link or a code. Once all the students have joined, then the teacher can make a decision which projects she or he wants them to assign to students. The students are broken in different classes and different groups, and then they collaboratively have the opportunity to create a project. So please forgive my internet today. It's been very, very slow, unfortunately. And this kind of, as you can see here, we have the lesson activity, etc. So let's see if we can get a little bit of visualization as well on board here. So, okay. Very slow internet for some reason. Here we go. So it doesn't pick up for me today with the internet. Okay, let me just see a different one. Sometimes the Zoom things, because things are running on multiple devices or multiple systems. Here we go. Here we go. So basically, the concept is here very simple. This is the exploration of pre-designed content where the students will be able to visualize everything that is happening in 3D and learn, let's say, about the geometric shapes in a virtual augmented environments. And by manipulating with different projects in terms of learning about fractions, about different surface, etc., they would be able to more efficiently learn about it. So the same thing works with all the other aspects. And let me just maybe show you how that works in terms of 2D or 3D dimension. Again, it's a little bit more fun when you hold the device and the figure is popping up in front of you. So again, the gamified test, the multiple, let's say, the linguistic of it, it provides really an opportunity to have those, let's say, interactivity. Another option would be is to create interactive quizzes. Are you familiar with Pokemon Go? Have you heard of it, explored it? So the same concept lays here is actually where the teacher can create an interactive quiz. You can see here, for example, it's a very easy quiz for kindergarten, and they're just simple questions. What is this shape? And what is this shape? The correct answer and a 3D model. Once this quiz is created, then the teacher actually assigns an activity to students, and students would have to use the mobile devices to walk around like in the Pokemon Go and try to find in the real environments a hanging in the air 3D model that becomes a part of the environment. Once they find this figure, then what is going to happen is they click on it and then the quiz will pop up. So rather than just being, let's say, interactive gamification aspect, it's actually a learning point where rather than using pen, a piece of paper to perform tests, quizzes, or anything else, it becomes a learning tool with a completely new way of performing quizzes, tests, or exams, where students can actually walk around and do the presentation. So again, all the whole variety of content is in here. All the activities that the teacher has facilitated is available also for the review, because the reporting is a big part of the educational landscape and they have to monitor the students' progress, how they perform. So that's where they go. And I've also mentioned in terms of the integration, in terms of Augmented Classroom being part of the learning management system, and the lesson plan activities and the curriculum outline, all of those parts are absolutely essential, because it just from our perspective, it saves a lot of time to teachers. And that's what we keep hearing, the teachers going for it. We have a complete outline actually done by the teachers. They can pick up specific activity, look at the curriculum outline and see how that match what they're currently studying. So if we take, for example, the American curriculum, you have all the standards, all the topics that it's referring with direct links to suggested activities and activity name and exploration, and also which app to use. So for us, it's as part of the education, it's important to fit this, not just the skills development aspect, but also the STEM and framework. And that's all part integrated as part of the content is designed for Augmented Classroom. So this is a very, very in a nutshell. There's a lot to explore, but I don't want to overwhelm you quite a lot. Any questions here?
I did have a question on when they're out there in the world, using the AR side. Does that require internet, or is there an offline mode for that?
That's a good question, because there is a connectivity, the teacher facilitates in the lesson, the students are joining by the code. Yes, the internet access is required.
Okay. And do you typically find that, say, like you have a classroom that is collaborating, let's say, within one of these spaces, do you find that that requires a lot of bandwidth from an internet standpoint?
Usually, if the school has a very stable internet access, it doesn't matter how many students are using it. For example, in our school, my kids are in one of the international schools. They have, internet to facilitate everything, because there are a lot of digital classes, there are a lot of use of internet, and it's quite stable to use.
Okay, cool.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the hardware requirements? I know you had mentioned kind of different types of devices, like what's the minimum Android, minimum iOS version, how far back? Maybe the better question is, what devices do you not support? How about that?
Okay, I would say like really old version of iPads that are maybe under a 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, because for example, geometry on its own, a very simple app doesn't require much space. But if we go into the geography, for example, it's a more comprehensive solution. So for it to run efficiently and for the students not to be able to wait for a long time for it to load, it definitely requires a little bit of devices. But we try to, let's say, build a solution that it supports it by as many devices as possible.
Okay, so would you say rather, as long as Apple and Google are still supporting those devices,
absolutely,
the
yeah,
Augmented Classroom would continue to work on those?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So, for example, this is an example of how the exploration of the geography will look like in the animal mode. So the students can zoom in, zoom out. They can feed the animal. They can hear the animals. They can feed the animals to learn about healthy food, whatever. Just see what they like. or let's say the water animal modes, where they can actually dive in according to different continents and see the underwater world, etc.
Cool.
Nice. And you kind of touched on earlier about the LMS integration. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, definitely. So if we go back to LMS, what we've learned is that the single, let's say, software for schools, sometimes it's just complex for teachers to use it as a separate login. So that's why we have the LTI integration with any learning management system, support 99% of LMS systems, whereby every module of Augmented Classroom, or an application, as we call what you've seen here, could be automatically integrated as part of the LMS and run directly through there. So basically the teacher wouldn't have to have a separate access to Augmented Classroom, but it will be part of LMS.
Perfect. Thank you.
We also can do the API integration. So we have a couple of LMS partners, and which again is much easier because they have their own library of different solutions, and CleverBooks is one of them for some of the partners. And basically it's kind of an upsell for partners as well to integrate that and provide a more quality of their LMS and be a little bit more competitive, let's say for their clients.
What type of reporting or analytics does the teacher get back when they're using these reality apps, I suppose, to track their learners' progress?
That's a great question as well. It depends how they structure the lesson. Because, for example, that's maybe not a good example here. Let's see, oh, there is one right here. You can see that right here, it's quite a simple analytics whereby the students, the teacher sees how well the task has been performed, how many points each student scored, and also how long it took the students to do so. So, but because different applications actually not separate, but they could be used in conjunction with the whole, let's say, lesson approach towards learning the subject or the topic. Let's say the teacher can start with using geography application just to showcase already existing animals, like you've seen, I've shown you, as part of a discovery stage. Then the next stage, the teacher can say, okay, now let's create your own environment. And that would be the next application where they can actually drag and drop 3D models by creating the environment, then doing the presentation. So again, here, it's not much of the analytics required, but it's more how they are, let's say, understanding the concepts of what is asked them to do, what they're asked to do, but at the same time, the presentation skills, etc. And let's say they can go back to the geography app because there are tests and the individual or collaborative tests. And that's when the teacher can assess, let's say, how well they perform on those tests. Then later they can go back, for example, to the quiz that I've shown you. And that would be kind of the final wrap up to really understand their knowledge in the topic. So there are multiple stages that the students can go through. And obviously, depending on different activities, which could be done either once or repetitively during, let's say, the beginning of the lesson topic or at the end of the lesson topic, the teacher then can compare analytics and see if the student has actually increased the knowledge because there are multiple activities built into to provide the knowledge on the topic. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Are you able to add kind of widgets? I noticed there's like a marketplace to this. Is there like more things you can add to like the 3D environment, I suppose, or is it just what's pre-programmed into the tool?
Well, the solution is obviously ready to use, and as it is, but we're always bringing more things because we're getting the feedback. We are currently launching in just in August a new solution, which is IRC textbooks, where, for example, the teachers can have a regular PDF, scan regular PDF documents, and then link to it videos or images, which will pop up eventually when the document is sent to students. So that's one idea. And we also do have a marketplace of third-party providers. We're not really publicizing it much. All of those, for example, 3 solutions, that no cost, but it gives a little little bit of value as well in terms of, let's say, schools being in different countries, let's say, integrating those aspects as well. For example, 3D viewer, where they can upload the existing 3D model, they can look at different, from different angles, or learn a little bit about the engineering, or for special needs, for example, learn about vocabulary, etc.
Okay. Is there also a mechanism for this to work like on those headsets, like an Oculus headset or those VR headsets, or is it just through those mobile devices like tablets that you're doing that
Right.
augmentation on?
The augmentation is a little bit different concept comparing to the VR, so that's why it's only the devices we're providing, and we don't work with hardware at all, basically because we're working with younger students at this stage, and there are many teachers who are saying that they're not interested to use VR with younger students because they lose control. But with augmented reality, you know, the student is still seeing the teacher. They don't have anything over their face, and it's much easier for a teacher to have control over class.
Very nice. Okay. And I noticed there's like a subscription. Can you go over kind of how this is billed, or how does this?
Yeah. So at this stage, we have the touch boards, because some of the schools have only touch boards. So it's $50.99 per year per touch board. And we also have a full comprehensive access to all type of devices, either for just one class, one teacher, 30 students. And that brings us to $279, it's about $7 per month per student per year. Or the school can just onboard, you know, the number of license they're looking for. The higher volume of license, the lower the average price per student. So we're going down to about $565 per student per year.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, and you have you can also see, you know, what is included. If it's just a class pack, usually it's only for one teacher and 30 students. And but when it's a school, then there are multiple teachers can use simultaneously access to perform different activities, etc. So, but there are a lot of concepts also could be used, let's say, for example, what I've shown you in terms of the AR Quest. It's something that could be also used for the higher education or even businesses, where they can create interactive quizzes as part of team building activities, etc. So in terms of kind of customized projects, there are always possibility to get, let's say, the concepts and then adapt them to the environments. Or, for example, the collaboration, where you bring multiple people to collaborate in the environment. Again, it's something that is already ready and could be used, but the content with which they're collaborating, it's always available for, you know, let's say for development, etc.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for your marketplace, does CleverBooks plan on expanding that marketplace out in the future? Like, you're going to have additional downloads? Or are you going to do just free only on your marketplace? Do you plan on having any paid things on the marketplace?
We do have, let's say, a strategic plan for that. It hasn't been our priority at this stage because, again, for it, we did some collaboration opportunities, but it seems at that time it wasn't maybe the right time. But we feel that it is a great opportunity. And so taking the concept what LMS providers are using of building the library, marketplace library, where it could be as an upsell to build the additional value. Yes, we're planning to expand that.
Cool.
And both paid and free versions.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone else?
What was that certificates feature on the screen?
Okay.
What does that do?
Oh, just a fun thing, you know, when your kids completed a lesson that you assigned to them, you can say, you can print this wonderful certificate to them and give it to them and say, congratulations, you've completed the lesson, and they can bring that home. Oh, here we go. And that's it, really.
Does the-
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's just a little praise, you know. I've been in the classroom myself, so kids absolutely love, you know, certificates and stickers, etc.
Can the educator edit this document, or is this kind of just pre-populated for you guys? And you just-
Those are ready to use, but they can build their own. We do have, let's say, a share with student module where the teacher can upload any PDF file. For example, we have some books already preloaded here. Again, exactly the same concept works. You copy the link, you paste it, you share it with students, and actually students get access to this PDF, you know, by sharing this document. And this is, for example, that we have also the documents for a student to complete. As you can see, the teacher can write here, they can add additional things, etc. And again, send it to students. Let's say the student has sent PDF documents for correction, the teacher corrected, uploads, and shared the link so the student can see, you know, the marks, etc. So there's a lot more in there. Let's say in terms of how the solution is built and how it could be applicable not only for the K-12, but definitely there are certain priority features that we emphasize on is definitely the content that could be provided using the 3D or augmented reality environment.
You guys are making the next versions of CAD users.
Yep. Anything else that could potentially help you and keep in mind if something will come up?
So Kelly, Ray, Jeff, and Nick, just so you guys are knowing, we've had conversations with Ina around just the K through 12 market and how it's just not a huge market for us, just because there's so many hoops to jump through, and you know it's really already dominated by many of our competitors. So she's aware of that, but we also feel that, you know, AR and VR, this is going to be the future, right? And this product is really amazing, especially for those younger kids. I know they love all the AR and VR stuff. So our thought right now is to kind of let you guys go out there now that you've seen the product and see if there's any fish in the barrel, we'll say, right, that could be interested in CleverBooks. Get introduced with Ina and have her kind of join you with that so she can introduce the product and demo it out for you guys. And if we find that we are kind of generating a decent amount of leads, then we definitely want to sign a partnership with them as well too. So
at the first stage, we can take completely the sales process as long as we have the introductions that the person is interested, then we can get our salesperson on board, and he will be taking the leads from this introduction all the way to closure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think where it will help our process the most is if we have some, you know, fairly lightweight, really just surface. I mean, it doesn't have to be very deep, but way that's part of a demo accounts or something that we're using, because where this really helps Moodle is just showing the breadth of all of the different ways that we can include course material, right? So we can show this as one way, and then also, you know, lots of other course types. And that's going to be that first step, is just showing that all the different types and how extendable we are, and then dig deeper once we've gotten past that first step, and then we can introduce particular solutions like this.
Then maybe we could set up a demo login for us, that maybe a single one to use potentially, so they can actually kind of just show the product a little bit as well too, as they become more comfortable with it.
Yes, that could be possible. If you can, actually, basically what you have to do is you have to create the account using a specific email. Once you've created the account, you can say, this is our general account, please extend it. We'll provide you the access, and then everyone can, from your side, can get access to do the demo, etc. Another thing is just if you're looking for any specific information, marketing material, whatever, just let me know, because we have videos, introduction videos, we have the flyers, presentations, whatever would be more efficient for you to do the initial kind of introduction. Just let us know, and we'll prepare that for you. Yeah.
I represent as an account manager quite a few K-12 schools in our accounts. And I would like to propose doing a webinar and then inviting those K-12 schools to see what your product looks like. Right now, school is out for most schools in the US and most of our clients. So they're looking at professional development and, getting ready for the school year in the fall. Now would be a great time to do a webinar and a demo, and we could target those K-12 schools that we have clients.
That's a fantastic idea, because we actually run CPD trainings with
Okay.
our partners and for all our users. So we have a complete structure, everything is, and I can send you the link to our previous CPD trainings. You can see the outline, and if that works, so if you would like any suggestions, etc., we can run a 45-minute or 1 hour webinar, whatever you would prefer, and it will be a combination of talking about the augmented reality, all the feedback that we have on educators about the tendency where it's going, and at the same time showcasing augmented classroom as one of the solutions that could be used in a K-12.
Great. Yeah, that'd be great. Drew, if you and I could set that up with Kit, and we could get a list of all our K-12 schools and personally reach out to them, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can talk about the dates when you would like to have that. And I'm the one who usually conducts the CPD training, so I can certainly do that.
Great.
Fantastic idea. And I think that would be the best testing point.
Right? See what kind of interest we get.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Fantastic. Then as the next steps is that from my side, I will send you the link as an example for the CPD training. And, if you need any help for the marketing campaign or, reaching out directly, do let me know. Otherwise, it would be great to get also the feedback if there's any other marketing material you will need to kind of to have it as business portfolio. But I would suggest we start with that CPD training and then see how that goes, because I don't think it would be any better opportunity to have a first go.
Sounds great.
Okay, then please let me know about the date and maybe a couple of alternatives so I can have a look and see which one fits. Usually the best thing is your morning, my late evening. So if that's optional.
Yeah.
How many hours difference are you from us?
With the Eastern time, 6, and with Pacific time, 9.
Okay. So if we did maybe like a 10 o'clock in the morning, that wouldn't be too late for
No,
you.
that would be absolutely fine.
Okay. Great. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. Then Drew, I'll send you the email, and I will include you guys also as part of the email communication. And I'll be looking forward to receiving the dates then for that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ina, today for spending time with us and showing this demo. Again, it's awesome. I'm super excited about AR, and we all appreciate you spending that time with us today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Fantastic.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Drew, for organizing that. And I'll send you also the link to the recording.
Okay,
Great.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.